What's up guys, it's Mike for Sim Racing 604 and welcome to my living room. So today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be doing some repairs on this. This is my Fanatec Club Sport V3 inverted pedals. If you guys have followed the channel for a while, you know I absolutely love these pedals, but they are giving me some problems. So when I bought the pedals, I also bought the brake performance kit. So I'm going to go ahead and install that, and I think that should solve my problems. So what are the problems that I'm having? Three to mention. Brake pedal is sticking for some reason. It seems fine now, but sometimes when I'm in a race, I'll go to sort of ease into the accelerator coming out of a corner or something like that, and it sticks. And it's not a hard stick, but it's just enough that I can't get linear travel on the pedal. So I'm gonna just put some grease down here, grease on the hinge, see if I can get that a little more free. That's the easy one. Two is my load cell. There's an adjustment knob here. I'll take a picture of this. There's an adjustment knob on the back between 1 and 5. And what's happening is, as the race goes on, this nut that adjusts the tension strength of the load cell, it is backing itself off. So the brake gets easier and easier as the race goes on. Really annoying, and hoping I can fix that. And the third and final problem, you can see all the tape back here behind all this green tape. What that green tape actually is the damper that comes with the V3 inverteds is actually slipping out. There's a little, I don't know what you would call it, but a little piece that holds it in place that's actually backed out. And so this thing just continually slips out. So I was doing a video a couple months ago and I was narrating and I said, oh, something happened to my brake pedals. Well, that's what happened. The damper actually slipped out. So I'm gonna see if I can get that back into place, get it, actually, you know what? With this brake performance kit, I actually won't need that damper anymore, so I'm going to take it off and move it to my accelerator pedal. I know some of you run the damper kit on your accelerator, and I've heard it's really good, so I'm going to try that. So it's 1, 2, 3, the sticking accelerator, first one. Second one is the load cell tensioning nut that's backing off. Hopefully we'll resolve that with the brake performance kit. And the damper that doesn't need to exist if I have the brake performance kit installed. So hopefully I'm gonna take care of all three issues and get my Barry Roland on. All right guys, let's get into it. All right guys, so we're gonna go ahead and see if we can get some of this stuff off. I won't bore you with figuring out how exactly to undo all this stuff. But we're definitely, not sure if the camera can pick that up, but we're gonna get this load cell assembly here pulled back so we can pop out the, I guess that would make the most sense. So in this brake performance kit, we have a number of options in terms of the tension, but the first thing we gotta do is get these guys, the factory ones, out of this load cell assembly in here and remove this damper. So I'm gonna pause the video and we'll come back when I've got this thing actually torn apart and ready to move on. All right guys, so through the magic of video, we've skipped ahead about 10 frustrating minutes for me. So I wasn't planning on showing you guys much of the disassembly of this, but I ran into some headaches, so I thought I would share with you in case anybody else out there needs to do a similar upgrade. So the damper, it's not immediately evident. I even went to the great John Sable and his Inside Sim Racing video, and his were not the inverted. So there is another step with the inverteds. So you can see this little pin here comes as part of the damper. So that's actually fixed inside the sort of channel here that holds the brake pedal. And I just took this screw out right here. You can hopefully see, hopefully it's HD enough for you to see that. There used to be a screw right there. I just backed the top screw off, and then I was able to then manipulate this pin, whoops, excuse me. Was able to manipulate this pin and slide this guy out. So a bit of a pain there. And then the other thing and I haven't actually done it yet, but I'm quite certain this is the answer. It just says in the book, in the instruction manual, to just back your preload. By the way, I was calling this a load cell tensioner or something like that. They're calling it the preload screw. The instructions say to back the preload screw off all the way, and then this assembly should just swing down and out. It does not. I can't get it, but I have figured out how to do it. There's actually a tension screw in there, so I was able to get my Allen key screwdriver in there, back that tensioning screw off, and now this, again, probably not HD enough, but there's a little pin here that appears to be just sliding out now just by hand, so I should be able to swing this out and we should be good now. So yeah, just want to give you those quick tips and we'll carry on. Okay guys, so it seems like I was right. It seems like this is just gonna swing out now. As soon as I get the angle right, there we go. So I remove this top. That's my dog's feet walking on my hard floor. Okay, it looks like I'm going to be editing out some dog drinking noises. Okay, go lie down, buddy. Oh, what? Ah, you need a pee right now. All right. Alright guys, so it seems that I was right here. Slipped the pin out after loosening this tension screw on top of the head here, and this thing just slides out easy peasy. So we'll get rid of that, and then we'll remove this inner casing here, which houses our polyurethane foam. I don't know what you'd call it. What do they call it? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Yeah, polyurethane piece. So this is the old one. I know John Sable had some metal filings on his. This one appears to have some very, very fine metal filings as well. That's very interesting. But we'll replace this. So we're putting these ones in. There's a chart that comes with the kit that tells you how hard you want your pedal to, or which pieces you need to insert to get a certain tension on your preload cell. So I'm going with the AUT12 and AUT13. This should give me a hard brake pedal. It's kind of how I like it. I'm a pretty big guy, so I like it a little more firm than most probably. Please don't edit that out of context. So once I have this out, I'll go ahead and insert my polyurethane foam. And next, the AUT13, which we will grease. Hope you guys can see this. I hope I actually have all this in the shot. I'll apply it liberally. I don't see any point in really saving this stuff for anything else. So that's the AUT13. Try the AUT12 as well. So you're to insert polyurethane plus 2 more. So AUT12 and AUT13 again is supposed to give me the hard setting for the brake. Okay, that's it guys. I am super greasy. I'm gonna get this all back together, and I'm not going to do a driving demo in this, guys. I don't really see the point in you watching my feet press a brake pedal. So we'll get it all back together and just give you a general feel. I might take it out for a drive and let you guys know what I think. Okay, guys. So part 1 of the reassembly went very well. The preload is back together. It appears to be perfect. There was no concerns with it. As you can see, it's now missing the damper that we had in there before. Tension is very strong. I have it set to 2. The preload feels you can't move it anymore. This was the one I mentioned off the top that was backing itself out during races. It's now much stiffer, so I think I may have solved my problem. Again, this is very, very stiff, but yeah, maybe I'll back that down to 1 or something like that. Anyway, I'll fool with it, let you guys know where I end up, but yeah, that's a bit better. But anyway, preload is back together. The load cell seems all good. Now I'm going to start to see if I can get the damper on the accelerator. By the way, the only concern I had with getting this back together was getting this pin back in. Thankfully, in my garage, I have a host of specialized mechanics tools, and I enlisted the help of this guy. You can find it at your local hardware store. It is called a 17-ounce hammer. If all else fails, whack it into place. So that's what I did. I couldn't get the pin in, it was just sticking. So just a couple of light taps and just tick tick, and it was in. So all good. And yeah, now I'm gonna start to work on the accelerator pedal. All right, guys, so short of some cleanup, I think we're done here. We got the damper installed on the accelerator here. I gotta throw some grease on it. I will say, and we'll talk about this, I am gonna take this for a drive, just let you guys know what I think. But it does feel a bit too stiff for my liking. The travel feels very smooth. Unfortunately, it just feels kind of heavy. Now keep in mind, I will be obviously operating this with my foot, so the feeling through my hand won't necessarily travel to my, won't necessarily translate to my enjoyment when I'm actually applying my feet to this, just the same as it's nearly impossible for me to move this, but my feet will have no problem with it. So hopefully the same bears true for the accelerator. So yeah, just gonna clean this up. A little WD-40 down here on the hinging on the accelerator to hopefully get rid of that stickiness, and then we'll do a track test. All right, guys, so here it is in its final resting place. What I've done since I put it all back together, there was actually a tensioning screw. It's at the very top of your screen there for the damper kit. So I backed that all the way to setting 0, which is the weakest, and it made the travel really smooth. I might bump it up to 1, but it gives me kind of the loose feeling I had before, the nice soft accelerator. I can push it with my toes, as you're seeing there. But at the same time, you get the smoothness of the damper. So very cool, very nice. And as for the brake, it's absolutely fantastic. I had to change the, what are we calling it? The load cell setting. Why am I blanking on that? Anyway, had to change the load cell setting to 3 up from the 1 I had it set at when I was reassembling the whole thing. And it's awesome. It feels really awesome. So it helps me with my threshold braking for sure, and I turned some pretty good laps in the Audi at Imola, just initial test laps. Of course, it takes quite a while to get used to a brake kit, a new brake, but initial impressions are very good. As you can see, the travel is tiny. That's about as hard as I can push right there. If I put my whole foot on, that's the extent of it. So I don't know if you guys can get an impression of how far that is. But I would say that's less than an inch. So very small amount of travel, but all in all, guys, I really couldn't be happier. This was definitely a good upgrade for me. So guys, in regards to the 3 problems I was having, did it solve them? Yes, it appears to. So first and foremost, the accelerator, as I mentioned, it was sticking when I would get on it lightly. It's no longer sticking. I'm attributing that to the WD-40. I still have some tweaking to do with the tensioning screw there. I think I'm going to set it to 1 instead of 0. 0 feels just a shade too light. But anyway, the problem is fixed. Secondly, the preload screw does not appear to be backing out, which is really great news. So I'm keeping it at 3, and it appears to be static. So I should be able to do some long races to fully vet this, but for the time being, it feels really good. And finally, the damper is not slipping out anymore, not falling off. That one was easy. What it was, there is a housing that the damper mounts into away from the pedal, on the side away from the pedal, and the screw had actually either come out or possibly shipped from the factory without. I think if it had shipped from the factory without, I would have noticed it earlier. But anyway, I guess the screw or screws had backed their way out, and hence the reason it just fell out. So obviously I added a screw, and now it will not move. So good news all around. So I think I'm 3 for 3, guys. Thanks so much for watching this video. We will see you next time.